Catch me whipping in my drop top， 跟我兄弟姐妹 looking all dope hot。Yeah we living in the now， 活在当下，管他什么规则，全部都被打发。我的 flow， 我的帅，足够帅气，黑怕精神留在我血里，不管祖先赋予了意义，过我自己真实，不怕备受洗礼。别来 ，This ain't a show，natural high， 那我自己来一口。Set it off， 举起你的双手 ，Fuck that bullshit， baby let it go。Real life， this ain't a joke，Hustle hard 就是我的 logo。同学们跟我一起奋斗，因为 real life 不是作秀。Got the money。
Wow, pretty cool. It's the new kid on the block. Hip hop, that's the music to the ears of China's new generation. And the purveyors of this chill music is here in our studio. Yes, World Inside have something cool here for you today. The artist himself is, I'll let himself to introduce his story.
I'm Jeff Kung, K-U-N-G, and
yes,
Kung Lingqi.
K-U-N-G.
Yeah, Kung, yeah.
Good to see you, Kung Lingqi.
I'm glad
Very
to be
good.
here.
Thank you for being with us.
Yeah,
and we also have a friend with us here. Marcus Rowland, who is the manager and also A&R of Outdustry.
Yeah.
Managing many of the music talents.
A lot of record producers based in Europe and the US, and we work on a lot of music production in China, including a lot of hip hop recently.
Both of you have a lot of stories to tell, but you know, Jeff, what? The best way for a hip hop artist to tell the story is through his work. So, the floor and the table is yours.
All right, well, you know.
Why don't you tell us about how you became a hip hop artist?
Well, I grew up listening to hip hop. I'm from LA originally. So basically when, you know, the best way to introduce it is with a song, right?
Yes, I would love to have
In Chinese though, right? So
okay,
like, 我的故事怎么
it.
开始来到开头不是在小学不是跟我朋友当我妈妈怀着我肚子里的节奏可以算 hip hop 是在我的血统差不多在5岁所有朋友爱 play 可是我打鼓我的老师都被我吵死了他问我哪里学得从我心里这个火不会灭的7年级在舞会我看到妹妹请假的要命请她跟我一起陪我到舞池里我们跳得兴奋 hip hop 让我得到我第一次初吻虽然我是华人并不是黑人 hip hop 的美丽管你什么身份我的钱我的车什么都给你偷可是我的嘻哈永远拿不走
Wow! Yay! Yeah, terrific. Thank you so much. Really, thank you for sharing that story. You're talking about you grew up loving hip hop, even though you're Asian American, but you, like the African Americans, still can do great hip hop music.
Well, that's interesting because it started as African American music, but now hip hop has been embraced around the world.
That's true.
And in fact, I have a radio show called The Park in China. It's the first hip hop radio platform, and we interviewed a really good artist named Questlove. Questlove is from the Roots. He's a drummer, and he said something interesting to me. He said he feels like the spirit of hip hop is actually stronger abroad than it is in the U.S. Because in the U.S.,
why is that? For example, in China.
Exactly. In China, it's a really good example because in the U.S., hip hop has become a very commercial genre of music already, and it's kind of lost its real roots of where it came from. Hip hop in the States came from the park. It came as a way for kids in the inner cities to communicate with each other, to tell their story, because no one would listen to them.
Right. Yeah. But now, you know, all the courtyards in Beijing have turned out to be the places for the hip hop music to prosper.
Yeah.
Marcus, are you surprised by this?
I mean, not really. It's been going on for such a long time. I think, you know, you mentioned in your introduction, and I definitely, in this whole discussion, I don't want to forget that hip-hop's been in China for a very long time, and there's been a long list of actually
Has it taken on some Chinese characteristics, though?
I mean, I think it's, hip-hop is a very sort of international thing, and each country that it's taken off, they've definitely ended up talking about their own issues and the issues that face those kids. And yeah, certainly as, you know, as a foreigner, it's been very interesting to hear some of the topics they talk about. A lot of stuff like school problems, pressure with their parents, that kind of stuff.
You know, one of the things interesting is the music itself has gone from underground to on the surface and become mainstream to a certain extent. I remember a decade ago doing hip hop reporting, have to go to the underground clubs, you know, trying to secretly find who to talk to. And you don't know whether your paper can be put on air.
Well, look where we are.
Yes, look where we are. World Insight on CGTN,
yeah,
right?
I know, like, look, we're here.
We talk about geopolitics, but today is hip hop. So what do you think about this transformation? Is it really helping you to further grow this art form?
Well, I think the more people get to listen to it, the better it is for the art form, of course. Now, of course, it's a double-edged sword. There's good and bad to everything. So the commercialism of it, as Marcus was saying, hip-hop's been around for a long time. My radio show's been on for 11 years.
Sure.
Even before us, there was like Li Xiaolong, one of the first guys out. And then, so it's just getting popularity now. But I feel like there's a long history of Chinese hip hop that shouldn't be forgotten.
There is a debate, you know.
Yeah.
You know this.
Sure.
You don't want to hide away from
No,
that.
I'm ready.
There is a debate going on saying, you know, we really should do some Chinese content hip hop.
Right.
And there's another group saying, you know, so what? Art form is an art form. You could just have all kinds of elements into it. What would you say?
I'd say it's up to the artist. It's up to whatever the artist wants to do. If he feels like, or he or she feels like they need to add a Chinese twist to it, then they can. If they're feeling, you know, trap, like the guys from Hi Brothers, they want to do trap in Sichuan from Sichuanhua, but using beats that sound like they're
that
from
was
Atlanta.
actually quite cool, right?
Yeah, if they want to use Atlanta beats with Sichuanhua, that's cool too, you know? It's really up, there is no rules. That's why hip hop has become such a popular music.
Just one of the issue about the commercialization of it from the underground to the overground is you obviously hope that it can turn into, well, right now it's a lot of hype. There's this hugely hyped up sort of genre of music. With all the stuff that's been going on this year, but what you hope is that it will actually convert some of these new fans, you know, who've been introduced to hip hop for the first time into real, honest fans. And I think looking at Gai Shi Yin Xiong, the TV show last year, which was about EDM, which is, you know, it's largely disappeared. And last year everyone was talking about EDM being the new thing in China, and it hasn't really materialized into much. But I think given that hip hop has been going on for such a long time, and there are these guys.
That won't happen with hip hop.
Yeah, they've been going for so long already.
Yeah.
That actually, I think there's a lot more positive. There's a lot more to be positive.
Is this only a fad, or this is something like it's very much ingrained now?
Well, okay, it's not a bubble, because what you mean by a bubble is that you just said that there's a big underground scene of hip hop happening for the past 10 years.
That's right.
That means there's a foundation. Yeah. And that means that it is not a bubble that will just collapse on itself. Even if the rap of China wasn't here today, even if we weren't here talking about it, there would still be people doing it.
But you know what? People go through this transition.
Yeah.
I used to be very much into China's rock scenes.
Yeah.
Many of those so-called rock stars 10 years, even 20 years ago, actually were experiencing something very difficult in their lives. Hard to survive even. But now, all of a sudden, past 3-4 years, all kinds of festivals pop up. They become the stars, very commercially successful. None of them could spend their weekend at home, right? They have to travel and perform. And that's gonna have some kinds of impact on their ways to do their work.
Yeah.
And their ways to create, or capabilities to create.
The interesting thing about hip hop is that it's very competitive. So there's always something to talk about. There's always something to write about. It's not just writing about hardships or, you know, even like a pop song about love. It could be about, you know, I want to beat this rapper.
And there's going to be someone calling you out.
Exactly.
If you're not doing something right.
I want to beat this rapper. I want to beat myself in the past, you know?
I think there definitely are still sort of issues around, you know, whether the industry is set up to allow for these rappers to sort of operate on a bigger level. Certainly, you know, I think an interesting sort of feature of China is that there often hasn't been, certainly in the West, you have a consistent flow from the underground to the overground. You have venues that have 100 people, then you have venues which have 500, 1,000 people, then you have 3,000 person venues, then 10,000. In China, it doesn't really work like that. Most of the people who are in the top level, the overground, are thrown up there. And so I think it definitely remains to be seen about, as you're mentioning, whether these artists are able to operate at a sort of high level, high pressure level.
That's true. Marcus, you are here to be with some of the producers actually helping to put that show together. That show that's been viewed by billions of people here in China. But on the other hand, you know, these kind of commercialization, people would say, is it likely to be really good for this music genre? At the same time, you know, bringing pop elements, which is your way, I guess, of doing hip hop, into your music, is it going to, let's just say, to bring up the fundamental charm of this genre? You know, there's a lot of debates about this all over the world. I guess in China it's no exception.
Well,
Jeff?
look, we've just started, right? In the States, it's been big for the past 20 years.
Yeah.
So the fact that this year is the first year that hip hop really blew up, we have a long ways to go before it gets watered down.
Yeah.
You know, give me 5 more years.
Please don't get watered down.
Give me, yeah, exactly. Give me 10 more years of what the States had. I'll take that. Every rapper in China will take that. The underground can stay the underground. The mainstream rappers can come up, and then we could do collabos with any type of mainstream acts. You could get Nike, Adidas, you can get anyone to sponsor me.
Yeah.
These rappers will be happy about it,
Yeah.
and it will not water down their
Are you
music.
asking for advertisers
Hey,
on air here?
you know.
Marcus, what about you, from your perspective, coming in on this question?
Well, yeah, I think obviously the area that I work in is very much focused on this area, and the area that I'm working in, I'm seeing a lot of interest from the pop scene in working with rappers. This whole idea of collaborations before, which is obviously where it will be going. China doesn't have much of a habit for doing that. Certainly really sort of interesting, artistic, good collaborations, but there's definitely a lot of pop stars really interested in working them together.
Right.
I gotta say one thing. It's about time.
It is absolutely about time.
It's been so long
It
since
is.
new music in China has really taken a hold of society and kids.
Because
it's
again,
been so long.
You know, the issue with the EDM thing is that a lot of people were very interested in and talking about it, but it really wasn't a thing that was happening in the underground in China. And yeah, clearly, hip hop does sort of touch a nerve with a lot of people. And
One of the things is, before we go, we have very limited time for this.
Yeah, I know,
But
right?
you know, one of the things is, how can we still continue to make it always innovated? You know, that's something. I see the lights in your eyes when we're talking about this. As an artist,
Hip hop is the most
especially,
innovative music. It's the most innovative music
it is as a
there is,
genre,
period.
but you know, how can we do it on a commercial basis when it's becoming so popular? Still have this innovative spirit, be able to challenge yourself. Yes, you got the other party to challenge you,
Sure.
but you still have to have something from here.
There's a 16-year-old or a 15-year-old watching this show right now who's gonna go start writing rhymes.
I'm glad we have that kind of group
and
watching
make it
us.
better and make it better. So we're counting on shows like this, shows like.
Do you have a sense of crisis always?
I love what's happening now, and I just really want to grab a hold of it and make sure that anyone watching starts writing, and we need the next crop of rappers and the next crop of rappers
We're
and the next crop
doing
of
it,
rappers.
sir.
Exactly.
What about you, Marcus?
This is a bit of a sort of side issue, and this is a whole another big issue that we probably don't have time to talk about today. But
What can next time?
It's copyright. That will really help a lot of young bedroom DJs once they can actually make money from their music and not have to rely on other commercial
with that.
activities. Then they'll be able to it'll be a platform for them to be truly creative.
Okay,
And not,
we got limited time, but I do want to invite your final words. As a producer, what kinds of hip hop do you really have in your heart that you would love to present to us in the near future? What is it?
Well, I mean,
And you, as of course, an artist later.
Right,
yes,
sure.
you go first.
Oh,
Marcus.
I mean, there's a lot. Obviously, I'm from the UK, so
Yes.
for me, grime is a huge passion of mine. I'm a big fan of it, and obviously, I'd love to sort of try and get some grime artists to work with some Chinese artists, because it's a really interesting rhythm, very different from normal hip hop. So
We are
I'd
looking
definitely
forward to
support
it.
that.
You definitely need to come back to our show. And Jeff, you have to help us understand your future.
Well, the park, the radio platform, the web platform, we're always going to be
He's
pushing.
like an entrepreneur in a way,
Yeah.
you know.
We will always be pushing Chinese
Yes.
hip hop, local Chinese hip hop, the best rap, the best the culture has to offer. Musically, I'm a pop singer that also delves into a lot of hip hop, so I always want to bridge the gap between the underground and the mainstream, and I'm loving what's happening. So
You want to say a final words, both of you, to many of those 15 and 16-year-old watching us?
yeah, 造起来, 造.
Yeah.
Get up, go crazy right now. It's our
All
time.
right, there we go.
Yeah, thank
Kung
you.
Lingqi.
Thank you.
Nice.
Jeff Kong,
Good to
and
see you.
also Marcus Rowland. What a pleasure to have both of you gentlemen
Thank
for
you
being
very
with
much.
us.
Thanks very much.
Let's continue.